Welcome to the Life and Times podcast. Sit back, enjoy the conversation, enjoy the vibes, and thank you for checking us out. All right, I got a quick question for you, man. Before we officially really get started, have you ever have you ever had Bacardi 151?
I have not.
Okay,
Rum is kind of hit or miss for me.
got you,
So
got you. I ask because I was reminded last night that I set a frat brother's car on fire with 151 back in college.
that's why.
Yeah, yeah.
Nah,
We'll talk about that later, hopefully. But shout out Tuskegee, shout out to Horace, and me having to work that summer to pay for that beat up piece of crap car.
I wish I could have been there for that
Man,
one.
yo, for forever in our mind, man, forever. All right, but let's go and get started, man. Listeners, welcome back to another episode of Life and Times podcast. I am Adrian. You already know it's no BS coming from me, and this is three. Episode three, and I am joined by this wonderful gentleman right here. Uh, good friend, good friend. I'm glad that we've met each other and stayed in touch. And I'm looking forward to this conversation. So, Justin, how are you feeling, bro?
Well, I appreciate the intro, man. That's high praise to live up to. But I'll see what I can
Nah,
do.
man.
but
You just be you, be honest, transparent, and we're gonna have fun. So, let's go ahead and get this thing started off like we normally do. The Life and Times podcast. The question is, what are you drinking?
let's see. Even though coffee is not normally my thing this time of day,
Okay,
I want to make sure I'm alert for this podcast.
word.
So I'm drinking Kirkland Pacific Bold organic coffee,
Nice. Shout out to
dark
Keurig.
roast. Yeah, yep. And then I think the coffee brand name is Kirkland.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to Kirkland.
Heard.
but yeah. So just chilling, watching the playoffs.
Word. All right. Well, for me, you are the first guest, just so you know, that's not drinking alcohol. Because that's one thing about us people who've worked in restaurant and hospitality. We all drink and drink a lot generally. I'm gonna keep to that. My beverage today is gonna be the UFO Beer Company. They have a beer called Georgia Peach, and I found this just randomly at Kroger in one of those, you know, pick your own 6 pack joints. So it says that it's a
yeah.
hazy wheat beer that has peach inspirations to it. So I'm gonna crack this open for the people. And again, like I've said before, you know, if it sucks, I'm gonna definitely be real and let the people know. But but man, you know, we like to start off the podcast, Justin, by positivity, giving flowers. You know, I'm a big advocate for giving flowers while the person's still here. So that's going to continue with each episode. So to you, my friend, I want to, you know, toast to you and tell you again, you're really cool people. I'm glad to have met you through wrestling, pro wrestling, one of our favorite interests, and something that we're gonna
Yep.
definitely get into today. And you've always been very sincere and hard on your sleeve type deal, and I'm happy for you. Even though you moved from our city, you're paving a way elsewhere. So I wish you all the best in everything that you do, and I look forward to a great podcast. So cheers to you, my friend.
Cheers to you, my friend. I appreciate
Yes,
that.
sir. And cheers to the
And
listeners as well. Thank you all again for listening. Please like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Follow the podcast at
mm,
Suplex Dinner Club. Just to make sure you're following that. Suplex Dinner Club. That is the
oh well.
home of the Life and Times podcast, as well as the college football podcast that I'm hosting, which is Dogs versus All Y'all, where we don't just talk about Georgia football, we talk about everybody, including all
Mm.
y'all. So that's my quick plug and that's my toast. So we're gonna get in some
And
questions for you, my friend.
all right,
You ready to rock?
real quick, while we're at it, cheers to you
Oh,
for
okay,
being a real one,
okay,
and cheers to you for again no BS, and that's what I love about
no
you.
doubt, bro.
And I'm glad we got to meet through wrestling, and I'm honored to be your guest on this podcast.
Yes,
And if I don't maintain eye contact, it's like it's a nervous twitch thing, so it ain't nothing personal.
man. It's all
It's
it's
just
bro.
yeah.
It's all good. During the time of this recording, there is a game on, so if you're peeking at that game, by all means, man. So no judgment over here.
You get it.
All right,
You get
man.
it.
I have a couple questions that I always ask our guests, just so the listeners here can get a better idea of who you are, what makes you tick, that sort of thing. So, my number one question for you, my friend, is growing up, what was your perception of hospitality workers?
Let's see. Well, my dad ran restaurants when he was younger.
Okay,
Like he was kind of a jack of all trades. Like we'll get into that later.
word.
Like when I was growing up, like he had a fence business. It was like he post divorce he had like he had like kind of his own business as far as like construction that kind of stuff. But like when I was younger than like probably before that, like he had a place called Howley's over in Charlotte and in Massachusetts. It was like a you know it's an American pub style place. So like it was always kind of like in the family. Like my uncle, my mom's side ran a barbecue restaurant. So from like a young age, I always thought it was just kind of cool. You know what I mean? Like I know that it would be my career for like 20 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, but or close to 20. And but like I just thought it was cool just to like. And then when I finally got my first restaurant job at like 18, 19,
Mm-hmm.
roughly. Um, because I was kind of working my dad building fences when I was 16, 17, that kind of stuff. So I didn't get my first like job that was like actual job that wasn't working for him until I was like 18 or
Word.
19. And yeah, I just had yeah, and then I was like I love the camaraderie. I love
Mm-hmm.
like the chaos, but also you're all working as like a unit to accomplish something. And then as I got older,
Right.
my palate changed. I started going to like different restaurants and like seeing
Got
like
you.
the
Got
artistic
you.
side of it,
that happens.
and
That
that's always
happens.
just seemed
That
kind of
definitely
seemed
happens.
cool. So like even though I fell into a career almost by accident,
Got you.
just because I went from a
Got you.
dishwasher to a cook, just by slowly working my way up, it became a passion. You know what I mean? So like, and now it's I like cooking nowadays, but as far as hospitality workers, I loved like the lifestyle at the time. I
Right.
can't do that shit no more. But
Especially working in
and
the kitchen.
also the reason why I'm not drinking today is because I drank too much yesterday.
Yeah.
So that's why. So I'm just kicking it
Mm,
today.
true.
but but yeah, I
Got
love
you.
the lifestyle.
Got you.
I
Got you.
love is everybody from like
See, I didn't know you
different
were a
cultures too.
bartender.
Be like
I
hip
thought you
hop
worked in the
culture,
kitchen.
punk rock, and like all these
Okay.
guys
Cool. Cool.
together,
Okay.
like
Cool.
one big fucking unit.
Oh,
You know
okay.
what I mean? So
Got you.
initially that was it. Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. Yeah. I've always been jealous of bartenders though because like they've got the power. You know what I mean? Like they can tell someone to fuck off and they leave. You know. So.
Got you. Right. 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 So, next question for you.
No, I did. No, I did. I
What
said
was your first job in
I said I was always
hospitality?
jealous of bartenders because they got to kick people out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I did bartend once under the table, just like right before I moved
Nice.
from South Carolina to Georgia. Like my boy on the bar, so I just picked up a couple tips
Okay.
just to like make a few hundred,
Okay.
and that was it. But I never done it like professionally. I've always cooked my whole life. So you're right. You're right.
Hell yeah.
Every cook does. Anyone who's fucking respectable, at least. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. Right.
And not to put anything else down, but that's talk about that later. um, I'm yeah, but so yeah, initially just kind of that's a decent job. Enjoyed the perks. I kind of like got to make. That was the first time I got to like work a flat top grill because they let me make my own lunch.
Nice.
So that was the first time I ever worked a flat top, and like so kind of like got a taste of like getting creative and making all that stuff.
That's all.
So yeah.
That's also the quick test for the dishwasher to prove that he can work in the kitchen. That's
Hmm.
that's like a that's like a industry trick. Like you hire the kid on as a dishwasher. You check him out. You peep him out for a little bit. See how that work ethic is. Is he actually on the job? Is he BSing? And then if he's on
Hmm.
point, you're like, yo man, I don't want to make your lunch. You come over and make it. I'll talk to you and show you how to do it, and let's see how you do. And then depending on how serious he is about it, it's like, oh, okay, so I
Hmm.
may have me one, you know.
Yeah.
But I
Hmm.
know I
Definitely.
used to do that with a lot of like my younger dishwashers. They come in and now if he's a older dude, obviously he knows what the hell he wants. You know, we know what we want.
Hmm.
But if it's one of those kids that's just getting out of high school or he's in high school, you're like, let me see what this kid's on when it comes to work,
Hmm.
you know? All right,
Right. No, definitely.
next question for you, man. Do you think that everyone should have at least one job in the industry and why?
That's tough to say
Okay.
because on one hand, it's like, do I want them to go through what we
Mm,
went through? Like, because that's kind of like in the film union, it's like, those old union guys who, once you go through the same thing they went through, it's fucking bullshit. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
So it's like, on one hand, yes, because you'll never like not tip a server or bartender ever again
That's a
if you
fact.
do.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? So if you don't, like, do you really want to subjugate someone to like that kind of like psychological torture? Because like it's gonna be that GM is gonna break them, the chef's gonna break them.
Mm,
You know what I mean? So, but I feel like maybe one summer, like mandatory,
mm-hmm.
like just to get a feel of like how much that shit sucks,
Mm-hmm.
and like just enough to where like never to like not tip a fur worker ever again.
True. True. I like that.
Like server assistant, whatever. Like whether it's you're working for tips or not, like you basically like fuck yeah, busboy, work for your tips,
Right.
and you don't make shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like so, yeah, I think so. I think that would be a healthy, life tool
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of people.
And I mean, the reason
So,
why I ask that is, you know, I agree with you. Where after you've worked in a restaurant, at least for a meaningful amount, you
mhm,
kind of learn to be a little bit more patient when it comes to certain things, like going out to
mhm,
dinner and if something doesn't go your way, instead of you going on the deep end, you being a former employee, you're like, I wonder if something's going on. Or also, I meant the easiest example is how many times do you know where, the kitchen's busy as hell, food is taking forever, and the customer is taking all that frustration out on that server or bartender. And it's like,
mhm.
as a server or bartender, you're like, dude, make I don't make this. So I
Yeah,
apologize and that's all I can do. But, it's just one of those things where I think people can be more empathetic for each other,
yeah.
toward each other, you know?
Mhm. I mean, empathy is seems to be going away.
For sure.
Honestly, in society.
Do you
Like, not to get too deep on the pod, but I feel like it is.
do you think that social media has contributed to that lack of empathy?
I'm gonna light a cigarette so I can answer that question properly. Because you gotta be fun.
Hey, I mean that's what we're here to do on the Life and Times
Yeah,
podcast.
exactly. All right. I'm not gonna blame social media,
Okay.
like, because I think that mindset has been there forever. It's just now those people have a voice.
Mm. It's been
So
amplified.
it's been amplified. It's much like any kind of the incel movement, the fucking men's rights
Right,
activists, the
right.
fucking white, all that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's always been there.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So now certain things on social media may have manipulated it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like certain websites that are just blatant propaganda. Like I'm sure that doesn't help,
Mm-hmm.
but I I have a hard time like I have a hard time blaming just social media and
No,
that's
for
like
sure.
it
I
created
meant
it
for
because
sure,
you know what I mean.
for sure. I
So
meant not
yeah,
to interrupt you, but yeah,
yeah,
definitely. I'm not gonna be one to say like, yo, social media created all this. No, that's humanity.
right,
That's society
uh-huh.
that has created it. But
Yeah,
social media has definitely amplified a lot of the craziness that you see on a daily basis if you're
hmm,
in certain circles or whatnot. So actually
yeah,
that's actually a good segue going into what I want to talk to you about. Um, like I said earlier in the podcast, both of us are diehard wrestling fans. That's how we met. Shout out to
hmm,
Josh and Uno of
yes sir.
Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment because that's how
I owe
we
them a
met,
lot.
man. That's how we met.
Yep.
It was an independent wrestling company in our beloved city of Atlanta, Georgia, no doubt. And it was some of the most fun shows and craziness, absolute craziness.
Yeah,
And I
man.
honestly, I
Yeah,
wish. I do miss uh, AWE. I do miss them.
me too. Me
I'm
too.
excited for the new venture being Southern States Pro. I'm
Hmm,
excited to them for them,
hmm,
and we have been supporting them for the past couple months. Um, but I'm not gonna lie when I say I do miss it. I do miss
yeah,
the. I just do miss the family that they did create. So
yeah.
hopefully, I'm optimistic and hoping that that family can happen again with Southern States. So shout out to those good brothers, and I'm here with them for sure. And Josh is going to be on the podcast
Hmm.
uh, pretty soon, so
Nice.
I can't wait to pick his crazy brain that he has. Pause.
Understatement, brother.
And you helped them for a little bit, right?
Yeah, it was yeah, it was like a production assistant more or
Yeah,
less.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just fun, but like I like a mutual friend of me and Josh's named Jamie introduced us, and we started going to shows a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just asked, I kept like kind of like bugging Josh and Murder,
Mm-hmm.
like just yo, like can I do something? I don't care what
For
it
sure.
is. You know what I mean? Like be involved with it. Like I wanted to book. I wanted to learn how to like book
Mm-hmm.
originally.
Mm-hmm.
Like and learning under Josh and would be imagine picking those guys'
For
brains.
sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
So yeah, that was the original goal. So I was kind of like working towards that. I do everything from like get someone an ice pack when they want something, or like originally we would do headsets when we were in fucking Jonesboro.
Mm-hmm.
Like we would do the time with the headsets, but didn't need that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's just little things like that. Like we were putting the need at the time where it's just like walk around and make sure like no one's getting rowdy, or like if keep an eye on the ring if no one's watching. Make sure like I got a story.
Okay.
Kira Hogan and Savannah Evans were wrestling, and shout out to Kira Hogan because she blew the fuck up, and
Mm-hmm.
fucking super proud of her,
Hell yeah.
super sweet lady. Like,
Yeah, she's a sweetheart.
I did that. but yeah, she cool as hell. Anyway, so she was still coming up, so she wasn't totally like there yet.
Mm-hmm.
And Savannah Evans was like on her first year, so she wasn't totally fluid yet. But they were working, and can't remember what the move was, but at some point, Kira got spiked on her head,
Mm.
like bad, like for shoot. And the minute I saw it, like before Savannah got the pin, I went to the bar, took my bandana off. I was like, fill that with ice, and tied it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they she walked back up. Remember the opera when they had the upstairs where all the wrestlers were?
Mm-hmm.
Went out there, gave her the ice pack, and like she was fine. But I was like my heart like just fucking dropped out of my fucking chest.
Right.
Like it looked gnarly. It looked fucking gnarly. Like, and Savannah like doesn't hurt people. Anybody who's seen her wrestle, like she's a stud. Like she's a great worker for like her size.
Right.
And like, you know what I mean? So it's like that just you chalk it up to like two people who are kind of green. You know what I mean? Like, and not indicative of like where they are now because like here's an excellent worker, so Savannah.
Right.
You know what
I mean,
so,
mistakes happen.
Yeah.
Mistakes happen in that industry. But yeah, man. AEW's Ruby Riott. Do you remember when she wrestled Kiera? Were you there at that show?
I wasn't there.
Okay. Well, Kiera dropped her on her head or neck, and like it was like stone silent, and I remember I could see Josh's face, and it was like legit fear, like holy cow, because she wasn't moving, and like everything stopped. They had to get an ambulance to get her taken care of. They stretchered her out of the ring. Like it was one of the weirdest points. Yeah. So I mean, for those people who don't watch pro wrestling, you you still have to respect those performers because hey, they're going in there knowing that there is that small chance that they can't actually get hurt. So if you don't respect it, then I highly suggest that you start doing that because these people are getting hurt, especially on the independent. Just because it's not on the daily news, the shit is happening,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But let's actually get into one of the topics that I definitely wanted us to talk about. Like I said before, both of us are pro wrestling fans, as evident of us swinging on over to us talking about our love for a promotion and people getting dropped on their heads and scaring the hell out of us. Now,
excellent segue.
Right. Now, going to you're a part of, I would say, multiple fandoms, Justin.
Mm-hmm.
Now, both of us are obviously wrestling fans. We're into that. Another thing we're into are, comic book movies and comic books, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are big into basketball. You love basketball. You love the game. I'm not so much of a regular fan. I will watch playoff basketball just for trolling opportunities, But, with those fandoms, obviously, there are going to be good fans and there are going to be crappy fans, right? Especially with hell, Star Wars, all of that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I want to talk about shitty fandoms, Justin. I want to talk about them. So, I want to ask you, how do you define a shitty fan? let's go from the perspective of, I mean, we don't even have to just hone in on pro wrestling, but
Right.
if you feel like that's where you want to hone in on, go for it.
Oh, everybody's gonna get the smoke for this one. So everybody's got
Good, good.
it. We'll start with pro wrestling because since we're just on that subject, then we'll segue to others. But pro wrestling fans are both the best and worst in the fucking world.
Mm,
Wrestling fans is weird because much like our conversation about social media, it's given more of a voice to those guys
right,
than where they didn't originally. And obviously, like dirt sheets don't help, and like dirt sheets were bad in the '90s. Like now, it's like they're you can get them anywhere.
right.
So it's like it's even worse as far as rumors go, and then like the trolls bite into the rumors, and then it's all like all of a sudden you're judging someone that you don't even freaking know based on something that's probably bullshit.
Mm,
And with like the blatant racism and misogyny and homophobia that like is entrenched in wrestling.
right.
You know what I mean? Despite it being naturally like kind of gay, just by nature, it's theater and it's theater and tights. You know
You're
what I'm saying?
you're
Like,
potting.
so like that's what I don't understand. I'm like, dude, it's homoerotic as hell. It is, just by the very nature of it. Like,
This is true.
it,
This is
so
true.
like I don't understand like homophobia in wrestling. I really don't. It's like the people that work themselves into a shoot and think that they're actually like fighters. You know what I mean? You got like guys like Rick Steiner. Like the Steiners are notorious bullies, so like I'm not really surprised. Like they've got like they're respected as far as like working with them in the ring because they can make you look good, and they always brought it.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
But they're notorious bullies. It was like you had to at least it's but again that goes back, that's the old school territory way. You
For
know what
sure.
I mean? Nowadays, thankfully, like that's not how people are trained anymore.
Mm,
And the people that are a bit more progressive are the ones doing the training, and then that old guard just fucking out of the ring completely.
mm,
You know what I mean? Not training, not doing anything. They're just like retired,
mm.
right? So
But let's talk about fandoms. I don't want to talk about the
yeah, sorry.
wrestlers, like
I
not not to
I got
not to move you, but
I
I
trailed
want
off.
to talk about
I
these
trailed off. My bad.
fans because we
I
can.
trailed off.
I think that we see them on a daily basis. No matter how long you're on social media, you're encountering shitty fans. So let's talk about
Yeah,
them.
right. Sorry,
No, you're fine. You're fine.
trailed off for a second there. So yeah, yeah. The fans. Going back to that, it's been a day.
It's all good.
I believe like I, I don't understand the tribalism. Like the people that are thinking that if you watch AEW, you can't watch WWE and vice versa. Or like if you like either of those, you can't watch New Japan
Right.
or AAA or Progress or something. It's like that's one thing that the internet has given us as wrestling fans, is like multiple options to watch wrestling all week.
Right.
Like Impact has had a solid TV show despite it, being like lower budget. They've been solid for years.
It's literally
Years.
the most consistent product, like for the
Yeah,
at least
out
for
there.
me the past 5 years. It's been the most
Yeah.
consistent. They do the most with the least.
Mm-hmm.
And also for those people that love, you know, Impact paved the lane for a number of people that are doing great, like Bobby
Yeah.
Lashley. Bobby Lashley's character was, he was given energy. Working his run in Impact gave him energy and that boost for him to return to WWE as a big star, because you remember he was pretty much broken. I mean, he was broken goods essentially.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm,
what other company, what other promotion stateside was brave enough to let Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy embrace like such a random, weird idea as the Broken Hardys? No
right.
one
Right.
else, no one,
Yeah.
WWE would never have allowed that, right? But
No.
Impact did.
No way.
Impact not only allowed them to do that, but they supported it. And then once it really got cracking and over, they were like, "Oh, we're going all in on this," you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I love like, I mean, I'm glad that you did mention Impact because, like I said, that's the most consistent product in the past 5 years. But
Mm-hmm.
to go back into
Yeah.
that tribalism, to go back into that
Yeah.
tribalism piece, man, you hit it right. I mean, you hit the nail on the head with that. Like, it's so strange to me, the fans and the people that have the opinion that if you have to pick one or the other. It's so
Yeah.
stupid to me. It's so weird, man.
That makes sense.
Yeah, like
And
enjoy the good stuff,
seriously, we're spoiled, man.
right?
Like we're spoiled all the wrestling we get. Like it's to the NBA. Like there's the people who like are glad, like the people who are glad when someone like gets hurt or like make fun of someone, for whatever reasons, and like start trolling the fans, start trolling the franchises. Like honestly, it's all good fun. Like we're shout out to Sports and Life, obviously our Facebook troll group, pretty much.
I'm never in. I'm never in there, man. I I I I have friends within that Facebook group, but shout out to them. Sports and Life, SLU
I thought
is
you were
what
with
we
them.
call it. I think I made
Tell you.
a couple years ago. I made that decision, which is one of those things that I do want to talk about when it comes to these toxic fandoms. Is
Hmm.
you have to make that conscious effort to say, is this actually important?
Right.
And what do I gain from this? And like trolling is all good, bro. Trolling is all good. It's
Yeah.
all in good fun. But once it starts to get once you once you find yourself spending the whole day going back and forth with an absolute stranger, you
Yeah.
you need to check yourself. You
Yeah.
absolutely need to check yourself. So,
And guilty.
yeah,
Guilty.
and
You
I
know.
we're podding and I'm not going to BS.
Hmm.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say like, hey man, you do need to check yourself on that because
I
it's
know.
easy to fall into those back and forths. But once you really think about it, like, do I even, do I even know this person? Do I
Right.
even is the picture that they have on their profile actually them? Like once we're
Right.
once we're even in that realm of questions, it's like I'm not bothering with you, man. Like I'm a Georgia fan.
Right.
I'm a Georgia fan. You say something about Georgia, I'm probably gonna laugh at it. You know,
Right.
when I mean when
Yeah.
when it comes to these fans, like honestly, man, I I don't go back and forth with people I don't know. If I actually know you, like you, I'll give you more I'll give you more opportunity for the back and forth because I actually know
Right.
you, because I know
Right.
that you're not going to go out of bounds when it comes to us going back and forth. Like it's not,
Right.
if you take a little cheap shot, cool, man, because I know your heart. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Right. Right.
and my question to you, speaking on that, like, how do you handle the situation of you actually know the person that's taking it too far? How do you
All
handle it?
right. Let me. I'll close out first with you're right on the like far as I'm gonna close out on how I handle the ones I don't know, and then I'll elaborate on the ones I do real quick. Ones I don't, I've been trying to be better. Just like you said, just ignore it. It's just sports.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like I like I love a good solid debate, and like
for sure.
as long as everything keeps it fucking civil, I'm cool.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right, right.
What gets on my nerves, and this is probably just me. It's the internet, but what gets on my nerves is like it's all bullshit, and it's you know what I mean. But like when I guess you could probably call us shitty fans, or maybe just like I don't know. This might be like a gray area, but like the ones who trash someone's favorite player just because like while acting their favorite players shit don't stink.
Mm,
Like trolling just to troll and be a shithead. You know what I'm saying? It's
mm-hmm.
like it's there's a fine line between like the debate and just having banter, but also like literally just trashing someone's team just to like make them feel bad.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what I don't like. And it's a gray area, obviously, but like that, I think that's what it does fall into the shitty fandoms where it's like you're doing it for no other reason but just to be a hater
Right, right, right,
and make that person like talk shit about that person's team just to like you know what I mean?
right.
Like
It's,
let them enjoy it.
I mean, it's clear. It's clearly a biased opinion. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to trolling, when it comes to calling things out, like going back into pro wrestling. When
Mm-hmm.
I, my thing is this, like, we have to be more honest. We have to be more honest about what these companies are presenting to us.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand not everyone has the same vision of what pro wrestling is than
Right.
than the next person. Like, I grew up here in the South, and you know, my idea of perfect pro wrestling is what I grew up watching on TBS.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep. Same. Same.
you know, it's one of those things where someone in a different region may have a completely different idea of what pro wrestling is for them. But
Right.
we can all be honest in our conversations about our assessment of products and companies and what they're doing and that sort of thing. We're in such a weird era of pro wrestling where if I offer any kind of critique or feedback I to other fans, to media or wrestling media, and definitely the wrestlers now because of social media, I'm instantly labeled a hater.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's counterproductive. That's super
Yeah. It is.
counterproductive because running a business, running a business, feedback helps you. And even though you may not immediately agree with that person, there's always some little truth to any and every bit of feedback, you know? It's very rare. It's
Yeah.
very rare where if someone is taking the time to like vent or give feedback, they're not just doing it just to waste time. You know what I'm saying? Like there
Right.
was probably
Right.
things where you messed up on. So
Totally.
so for me, just speaking for myself personally, you know, when I bring up issues that I have with AEW, AEW's weekly programming, decisions, stuff like that, I'm not a hater. I want the best of them because I, as a fan, I understand that the better they are, the better it is for everyone involved in pro wrestling. I
Right.
understand the more successful they are, that's more money for them, that's more money for the talent, and that's raising these raising the stakes in these other companies because like if AEW's killing it and making all this money, that means they can afford to just pay some big contracts for these guys, right?
Yeah.
And by proxy, WWE is going to like, well, we can't just let everyone leave. We have to match or make more money for these guys. So it's just one of those weird things where like if I'm critiquing something about that company, I'm not a hater because I have no reason to hate. I've been cheering for them, you know. But
Right.
don't call me a hater because of that. That's silly, you know.
Yeah. No, I agree. And like, as far as, I mean, God, it's such a loaded question. I mean, like, you got like, I feel like there's a connection of like, it's like the same state of mind with it's like the guys who trash She-Hulk are the same people who like, you know, friggin' say misogynistic shit about women's wrestling.
Mm,
You know what I mean? It's the same people.
mm,
And so like whether those comic book movie fans or whatever or the wrestling fans like the same shit, it's that same mindset of like, you know, women can't wrestle, women aren't funny, you know, like it's I don't understand the groundswell of that way of thinking, whether it's about again about wrestling, movies, what have you.
mm-hmm,
Like the need to tear down.
mm,
I don't understand it. Like the guy again, let's say back to sports is like tearing down someone's favorite team just because like you feel like being a dick. Tearing down AEW because you're a WWE mark and that's the only thing you watch.
right.
And like you call it like people call AEW a t-shirt company or like this that and the other and they think they're edgy, they think they're cool, but what they're doing is hindering the fan base
Mm,
and making people not want to tune in. It's like when Kat Dennings said she was a wrestling fan because she's dating Andrew WK, who's a massive wrestling fan.
mm-hmm.
Like
Oh, I remember that.
she, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like she posted and she watching WrestleMania. It was like last year. And then all these like fucking trolls were like switch to AEW, switch to AEW. It's like, dude, it, Andrew WK got a woman in her 30s, like his girlfriend, to like appreciate wrestling. This is like huge.
Right,
You know what I mean? That's a good thing.
right.
And yet you're tearing it down because you're a fucking smart. Like,
It's
and
awful, man.
it it makes us all look fucking awful. It makes
Yes,
us it makes you and I look bad because we are somewhat associated with those guys,
absolutely, absolutely.
and it sucks.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I just
So,
want to tell fans, like, if you're a fan of something and you find yourself on social media,
mhm,
say what you want to say. You know, if you have a declaration and you're adamant about it, you're 10 toes down on this stance, say it, but understand that the world doesn't revolve around you,
mhm,
and people can have different opinions than yours, but
mhm,
also do understand that your words and your thoughts and your actions can affect people, can affect some
mhm,
people. You know, like when you're talking about the misogynistic races, I mean, in pro wrestling, is plenty of examples of racist,
mhm.
misogynistic, uh, all of that stuff, man. Homophobia, like literally all of it. Just understand, fans, again, that your words and your opinions and your tweets and all that stuff, while you have the right to get whatever opinion you have off, have some empathy for the next man or next woman
Mhm.
or next person. Like, have empathy for other people because words do matter. You know, words and
Of course.
actions absolutely do matter. All right.
Of course.
All right. So, Justin, I mean, this is something that I do weekly when it comes to guest of the Life and Times. I challenge you guys to um, not only give us a question for the next guest of the podcast. It doesn't matter how random or bizarre or deep that whatever comes to mind. I not only challenge you to offer us that, but first, before we do that, I'm going to ask you the question from last week's guest. If you haven't already seen that episode, folks, be sure to check it out on streaming platforms as well as YouTube because we are live. Again, follow us at Suplex Dinner Club. Justin, are you ready for last week's question?
I am.
All right, cool. This question comes from Deja, who is a talented bartender, and that was a great episode. All right, this is a would you rather situation or scenario. Would you rather, Justin, number one, be rich but forever single? That's one. Number two, be married to your best friend but have no kids. No kids ever. Number three, the last scenario, perfect marriage, 3 kids, but you guys have to live paycheck to paycheck. So once again, the 3 scenarios. Would you rather, number one, be rich, but forever single? Number two, be married to your best friend, but you guys will never have children. Number three, you have a perfect marriage, 3 kids, but you are living paycheck to paycheck.
Number two.
Why?
Because I've never been one to want to have kids. So, and my best friend is like legit. My best friend, like, or one of my best friends in the world. Her name's Kelly. I've known her since high school. Where she's lady me.
Okay.
She's rad, and she's like smoking hot. So yeah, number two.
Okay. Okay.
That sounds like a perfect life.
See, when she asked that question, I was like, I have an idea what Justin is gonna say. So I'm glad that I am in tune with you because that is the one that I was like, this is probably what he's gonna say. All right, cool, 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 cool.
You know me.
No doubt, man. That's the thing about making friends and asking questions and having conversations. All right, so what's your question, bro, for next week's guest?
All right, the first one that came to my head, and I hope it's not a wrestling fan because this will make it even funnier. Where were they when Brock Lesnar beat the streak?
Mm. Man, next guest. I'm gonna throw that out there, and I'm gonna make sure I can at least set him up on under. I mean, he knows who the wrestlers are, but I'm pretty sure he wasn't watching. But I'm gonna ask him.
All right.
I'm gonna ask him. No. I'm gonna ask him that because no. That's a perfect question because he does understand the stakes of that result. He does understand that. So that's a good question, and I'm with that.
All right.
All right, bro. Last thing. We have our Life and Times playlist that is on Spotify. Look it up, Life and Times playlist. And basically, all it is I'm gonna ask each guest each week to add 2 songs. These are 2 songs that you're either currently listening to, put us on to something. If it's the mood that you're in, like what songs are the vibes for you right now? And I'm gonna give you 2 songs. So, Justin, what are your 2 songs that we're adding to the Life and Times playlist?
Ooh, I've been vibing to a lot of stuff lately.
Okay.
Man. It's,
and put us on to something. Like I said, don't. I mean, I joke on there like don't tell us any Drake because we all know Drake. So
right.
like,
I also don't really fuck with Drake like that. So
Okay,
it won't be any
even
Drake.
better.
Yeah.
Even better.
I never understood it. Yeah. Let's see. What have I been vibing on? I've been getting into like I guess back into like early metal, like psychedelic.
Okay.
Like there's a really cool documentary I'll put you onto after we're done recording.
Okay.
Um, talking about like the evolution from like pretty much Chuck Berry into metal.
Mm.
And it's really informative.
Mm-hmm.
And they do another one about like punk rock. So I've been kind of listening to like let's see what's a good one like Blue Cheer has been something I've been listening to. Their album came out probably like 3 4 months before Black Sabbath's debut
Okay. What's her
in
name?
'79. Blue Cheer.
Blue Cheer. Okay.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of the album, but they do a cover of "Summertime Blues" that's like heavy.
Okay.
And remember, this predates Black Sabbath,
Nice.
but like it didn't like have like a name yet. You know what I'm saying? But it was like you could tell that was like kind of like that last little part, and then right here is Sabbath, and then boom.
Nice.
You
Okay.
know what I mean? It was like the evolution. Was, yeah. So Blue Cheer, Summertime Blues, then one, and then I don't know if it's on here yet, but like this pretty much stays in rotation. This would kill my vibe back in Lamar. I bumped that at
Nice.
least three
Nice.
times a week.
Nice. Nice.
So yeah, that's just like if nothing else, I played that just cause.
You can't go wrong
So
without. I mean, you can't go wrong with Kendrick, man.
no, man, he's gonna go down as a goat, if not possibly the goat, in my opinion. When it's all said and done, like it. Sorry, I'm gonna pause that for a
Nah,
second.
get it off. Get it off.
Yeah. Kendrick, I think, like, despite his success, like, I think him and J. Cole are still massively slept on as far as like the sheer versatility.
Mm.
And Kendrick, in my opinion, just has like that total package. He's an like
Pause.
he's a fucking. All right. Okay. Question: does pause mean no homo or like phrasing like an archer? Like phrasing, any kind of like sexual innuendo is like pause.
It's more of innuendo, which is leaning toward no homo. I will say that.
Gotcha.
It is that. It's definitely that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Word. Okay.
It's. I mean,
'Cause
I, I,
I use
I know
phrasing.
it's problematic as shit, but I
It is.
fully acknowledge that. I fully acknowledge that, and you know I'm fully aware. But
Yeah.
that is the
Yeah.
truth. I'm not gonna bullshit you.
Right.
That is what it
Right.
is. But um,
Gotcha.
okay, so those are
But
your
yeah.
two
So
songs. Those are your two
yep.
songs. Send those to me so I can definitely put those with the post. I like
We'll
those.
do.
I like those because the first one I'm not aware of, and I'm into metal. So
You'll dig it.
yeah.
No, if you're into like yeah, if you're into like the super drony like psychedelic kind of stuff, you'll
Mm-hmm.
dig Blue Cheer because it was like it's metal, but it's still called psychedelic back then.
Mm.
But like you could tell, like again, like I said, like where it was going.
Gotcha.
Like yeah,
Have you heard Lil Yachty's newest project?
I have not.
Dude, look it up and listen to it. It's like a concept album. It's completely different than anything you've ever heard of from Yachty, and it's psychedelic vibes to it.
Okay,
I know that you'll love that. So, but
okay,
those two, I mean, that's not any of my songs. That's just my advice to you. All right, my two.
send that to me.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that.
Send it to me. Yeah.
All right, my two songs for the playlist this week. The first one is Shine by Joey Badass. I love Joey.
Mm,
He's a terrific lyricist. I love his energy, especially in this song. It's one of my favorites. It's from a couple years back. I almost want to say it's 2020, but maybe even I want to say it's 2020, but again, Shine by Joey Badass. Terrific song. Second song is from Smino, which is Wild Irish Roses. Listen to it. It's it's awesome. It's just a vibe.
All right,
It's definitely a vibe, and that's just currently what I'm on, man. But those
I dig that. I
those
dig
are
it.
our songs. Check out our playlist, the Life and Times playlist. It is on Spotify. Just look it up, the Life and Times playlist. All right, Justin. Well, this is the end of the episode. How do you feel?
I had a blast. I wish we could talk about mental health, but I guess
We're
we can do that one later.
we will pod about that later because we are nearing
Yeah,
my time. But we're gonna definitely I'm gonna definitely invite you back, and
appreciate
we're
that.
gonna definitely get into mental health because I did have a few points. I just didn't want to cut it short. So
I feel you.
yeah,
Same.
yeah, no doubt. But Justin, do you have any shout outs to anyone, the people, anything like that?
Shout out to our boy Bradley and Chris Thomas,
Word,
obviously.
word. And
Gotta
Ari,
give,
shout
gotta
out to
give the guys
Ari.
some love. And Ari, of course. Shout out to my brother Philip. Shout out to just ATL and everybody listening. Keep it short.
Word, word. Well, Atlanta misses you, man. And once again, I want to say thank you for taking out a quick moment to pod with me, bro. I really do appreciate that.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
It's
man.
been an absolute pleasure, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate that.
No doubt, man. No doubt.
All right, here we
Listeners
are.
down below, I want to hear from you. We want to hear from you. What's what's a toxic fandom that you're a part of? And give us an example of why you would call them toxic. And are you the toxic one in that fandom? Like, be honest, be honest. So, once again, follow us at Suplex Dinner Club. That is the home of the Life and Times podcast, which is what you're listening to now. And also, we have college football talk on Dogs versus All Y'all. I would love for you to join the conversation. Just follow us. We we'll holler at you, and let's get engaged and keep this thing rolling. So shout out to the people again, and we'll see you next week. Peace.